you ever felt turned off by a self-described feminist? Well, you wouldn't be alone. Maybe you think they're too radical or not inclusive enough, or maybe you don't understand the definition because there maybe isn't a consensus about one. Well, this is where I name drop my idol, Bell Hooks. She worked tirelessly as a feminist icon to dispel what it doesn't mean to be a feminist and why it's important to take a certain view on feminism. She was born Gloria Jean Watkins in 1952 in Kentucky, segregated Kentucky. So she does have a very interesting perspective on all of this, on oppression and sexism and racism and everything. She said, growing up in that world of Kentucky culture where the racist aspect of Confederate past was glorified, a world that for the most part attempted to obscure and erase the history of Black Kentuckians, I could not find a place for myself in this heritage. She went on after that to get a BA at Stanford, an MA at a master's at UW Washington, and a doctorate at UC Santa Cruz. These colleges weren't segregated, but she still felt the sting of oppression. And this is something that she'd make into a career, writing over 30 books and publications, appearing in numerous films, and having numerous awards given to her. And she established her own college, the Bell Hooks Institute. So what does race have to do with gender and feminism? You might be asking yourself. In the next section, I will touch on intersectional feminism, of which she is a major proponent. So race without gender, who are you going to lift up? If you're talking about gender without class, who are you going to lift up? So race without gender, a Black person, which Black people, rich Black people, or Black men, or Black women, or what? It's all tied together. And the same with gender and class, where it's this triangle. With gender and class, you have, do we want to lift up rich women? I mean, that's what's been happening, kind of, like rich white women. And this is why the first wave of feminism mostly failed. Every marginalized people, anyone of the lower class, anyone of a different race. I am totally privileged to say that I guess, I didn't get the short end of the stick, but also we can't all grow without each other growing. So what's the problem with how we see feminism, and what has Bell Hooks contributed to the conversation? Well, why do we all suffer when each person has their own definition of feminism? She says, currently feminism seems to be a term without any clear significance. The anything goes approach to the definition of the word has rendered it practically meaningless. That any woman who wants social equality with men, regardless of her political perspective, can label herself feminist. Most attempts at defining feminism reflect the class nature of the movement. So there you see it's detrimental to have different definitions of feminism. Without bell hooks, society would have a true loss in amplifying the voices that deserve to be heard, but are often written off. As a feminist, I want to be inclusive as possible, and so I took bell hooks' gospel to heart. I think next time you think about feminism and the term being tied to exclusivity or radicalism, think about that bell hooks only wanted freedom for herself to be who she is, and her experience is priceless. She knew that without addressing race, class, and gender, we'll never get to live in a society that